welcome to the Incoming Video Podcast. This is the show that looks back at my favourite historical miniature releases of the week. This is episode 34, which looks back at the releases for week ending the 12th of February 2010, and I'm your host Neil Shook. It's been another very good week for historical miniature releases, so lots of interesting models for you to look at this week. So let's kick straight off with my top 10 releases for this week. At number 10 we have a new release from Imprint Models. Now, Imprint are a company that produce 1/50th scale resin vehicles, primarily modern. This is their latest release, which is a Soviet T-90 tank, which kind of fits in with a lot of their ranges as they've been releasing an awful lot of modern British, American and Soviet vehicles. It's an ideal tank, especially for modern what-if scenarios. And as you can see here, is an ideal scale to go alongside your average 28mm figure. Imprint are excellent models. I've got several of theirs. They give good, clean, crisp castings, lots of detail, and this looks to be another really good release from them. Good stuff. Number 9 on the first of a couple of releases from Warlord Games. This week sees a couple of releases for their pike and shot range, but whereas the majority of their pike and shot range is plastic, these are actually metals, and they're dragoons, dismounted of course. And we have an officer, an ensign, a drummer and rifleman in various poses. Not a bad release from Warlord, but I must admit these particular figures really don't knock my socks off at all. I'm not sure whether it's just the painting that actually is causing the problem, or whether it's the actual models themselves. And though they're perfectly serviceable, these really don't strike me as being that great, to be honest. I think out of this whole lot, the drummer's probably my favourite miniature. I'm a little disappointed. And number 8, we have the first of some new releases from Inkerman Castings. Now, this is a sister company to Britannia Miniatures, and they're producing a range of 28mm counterinsurgency figures for modern gaming. They're starting off with Malaya, and their first releases include some Brits for this campaign, and we see them here. Now, these are looking quite nice. A little bit of a different sculpting style from Britannia's own 28mm counterinsurgency range. Looking at their Somalians and their African ranges for the Congo. These are much more what you'd expect for 28mm figures. Britannia's own tend to be a lot more chunky. Yeah, liking these a lot. Looking like this could be an interesting release. Number 7, it's back to Warlord Games, back to pike and shot, and their character figure of Oliver Cromwell, portrayed more as an officer, I suppose almost parading, as opposed to actually fighting. I suppose this is a pretty interesting character figure. It's a nice enough pose. I like the horse. Horse looks very good. And overall, yeah, it's a decent enough figure, I think. I can't comment as to its actual historical accuracy at all. But yeah, it's alright. Again, I suppose my only criticism is the fact that he's not particularly in a fighting pose, which is maybe not something you want if you want this particular character figure to be in leading your army. Personal preference, I suppose. Number 6, and we see a new release from North Star Miniatures. They're starting a new range for their South Africans. These are the British South Africa company, Riflemen. First 4 figures that are available for this new range, and they look pretty nice. These figures are to form part of North Star's own Africa range, to go with their War Games rules Death in the Dark Continent. They've already got a range of Matabele warriors, and obviously now we're looking at the British South Africa company. Interesting range of figures, I think. Really well sculpted, nicely detailed. Sorry, I don't know who the sculptor is for these particular models, but yeah, interesting. If you're into colonial era gaming, then I think these are well worth a look. And we stick with North Star Games for number 5. This time we move to Great War Miniatures. Several new releases from this company this week. These are some that I think are really worth looking at. First of all, we have a pack of British officers. Quite a nice selection here. I particularly like the chap with the map. Then we have 2 sets of French dragoons. Obviously we're looking at very early war here. Interesting sculpts, I think. Not miniatures I've really come across before, so very interesting stuff here. Again, really nice horses. Finally, and staying with the mounted cavalry, we have a couple of packs of Uhlans, a command pack and a Lancers pack. Again, excellent sculpts for the look of things. So if you're into especially early war, then some very nice cavalry for you. Really impressed by these. Good stuff from Great War. On to number 4, and reflecting the time of the year, with it being Valentine's Day. This is from Ebob, and this is a vignette of Wallace and Marion. Now, you may remember that Ebob actually won a prize last year for their William Wallace figure. Here we see it dismounted in a scene quite reminiscent from Braveheart, actually. A nice vignette, very cinematic, nice enough. Number 3, and a really nice release from Immortal Miniatures. You may remember Immortal are in the process of producing several sets of ancient figures. These are their new Spartans. Here we see a Spartan King, complete with bodyguard, and then we have a set of Spartan Spearmen. And you may notice in this particular case that these spearmen are actually wearing linen armour as opposed to the more standard metal breastplates. It's a quote on the Immortal website to say that, contrary to popular belief, Spartans did actually fight in linen armour, and that's why these have been sculpted. They're looking good though, aren't they? Classic Greeks in a lot of ways, and we have seen quite a few 28mm Greeks over the past couple of years. But all that said, this is a very nice release from Immortal. Really impressed by these. Another range that's well worth keeping your eye on. Number 2, and a new release from Eureka Miniatures. Now, Eureka, amongst other things, have been releasing several ranges of moderns. They have a range of figures for Vietnam, and these are Australian SAS for use with their Vietnam range. Another really nice group of figures. Very characterful, lots going on, nice poses, accurate kit, really nice stuff. My one possible caveat is if their sculpting is in line with their other ranges for the Vietnam, they're going to be on the small side, as they are much nearer 25mm as 28 or even heroic 28. So that would be the only caveat on what is otherwise a really nice release from Eureka. Excellent stuff again. And for my number 1, I'm sticking with moderns, this time from Empress. Empress, we've seen over recent weeks, are well known at the moment for their Zulu range. However, they are producing a new set of moderns. These are British SAS in civilian gear, and these are to go for a new range of moderns for Afghanistan. There are 4 packs in total, with some quite unusual figures, including, as you can see, communications officer. You've got a couple of packs, guys skirmishing, guys firing, a command pack including an Afghan interpreter, and a pack of snipers. And I think you'll agree these are an excellent set of miniatures. Continuing on from where Empress has left off, I think, with their Zulu range, excellent figures from Empress, really impressive. And just in case you haven't seen them, I'm also going to show here the Afghans that they've got to go alongside this SAS range as somebody to fight. I don't think I featured these, I haven't seen them, and they are fantastic. Really nice stuff. I mean, we've seen some really good Afghans from Eureka in the past. Some nice ones, some booked miniatures in the past too. These are probably some of the best I've seen. 3 excellent packs of Afghans to go with their other modern range. Really good stuff. I must admit, if I wasn't gaming in 40mm for my moderns, I'd snap these up straight away. Well done, guys. And there we have it. An interesting range of figures this week. So hopefully you've seen some figures here this week that you might find interesting. That's all we've got time for. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to Bill at the Miniatures page, Zach at Tabletop Gaming News. Without these guys' websites, this podcast simply wouldn't be possible. So until next week, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.